Hello and welcome to Fresh Film Friday's Book of Boba Fett edition, the podcast where two dudes are going to watch every episode of Book of Boba Fett, give their review of it as soon as it comes out, and that's about it. So, my name is Alec.
On Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin, and I'm really gonna miss saying that because in like 4 more days I won't be able to.
I know, it's officially over. Eric will be back on Monday with Dark City, so
um
yeah,
yeah, dude, this is awesome. I
yeah.
see people reviewing these like mini limited series on Disney, and I thought it was an awesome idea,
Hmm.
especially because we're both super huge Star Wars fans.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah, dude. I've always wanted to do something like this, and there's not a lot of new shows that I like
I
enough
know.
to want to do something like this. Mandalorian definitely is one, but I don't know when that's coming out next. So this is just as good, I guess. Next
Yeah, I have no idea the order of which Disney is releasing all like 10 billion series.
yeah, I know.
I feel like they just pull something out of a hat and they're like, "All right, fucking Kid Fisto." Like
The Kid Fisto series.
so I watched this first thing in the morning. I woke up at 8 o'clock. I turned it on at 8:30 while I was sipping my hot cocoa,
Oh.
and I loved it.
Damn, dude. I watched it 5 minutes ago. So I just finished it. um yeah, dude, honestly, like really cool. I haven't looked at I saw the trailer when it first came out, have not looked up anything since, haven't watched any other trailers, haven't seen anything. So I kind of went into this pretty blind and so far I like it. I'm interested to see kind of where it goes. I loved, dude, that seeing him in the Sarlacc pit. That was so sick in the beginning.
Oh, yeah, I thought them doing the periodic flashbacks to
Mhm.
when, like, the trilogy was perfect because, there was gonna be everyone was gonna be like, "Well, how did he get out of the Sarlacc pit?" So now you know. You know
Yeah,
now you know. Super cool that the stormtrooper was down there and he, like, used his oxygen thing,
dude.
and then he punched through it, and then I guess that explains the scars on him, like, he had to engulf himself in flames to get out.
That and probably the acid, maybe I don't know, maybe it was just still kinda going through like, I'm imagining there's acid, like, in the air of the Sarlacc, so maybe even when he goes to breathe in that, like, stormtrooper's air, like, that thing, there's still some acid in the air burning his skin. I don't know. I'd like to imagine
Yeah,
that.
it was sick. He has like that like healing pod thing that he's in. I totally forgot his sidekick's name. Ming. Oh
It's,
no, that's her
Fennec.
real name. that's
Yeah,
that's her
it's,
real name.
it's Fennec,
Fennec
I think.
Shand.
Yeah, and dude,
She's the
I
sniper from Mando.
forgot that she's wearing the same outfit as Zam Wesell was from, Attack of the
Yes.
Clones.
Yeah, dude, the changealum. She looked familiar, and I was like, "Oh shit, she's the bounty hunter from Clone Wars."
Well,
And,
no,
and
she's not the
the
same
armor, the armor.
she's not the same character, yeah, the armor, because that Zam Wesell does die in Attack of the
Yeah,
Clones, she
yeah.
gets shot with that dart, but, Fennec Shand, I wanna know why she's wearing that same armor. Maybe that's I don't know, it's kinda weird.
I'm assuming you'll find something out, but like I love how she's like his right hand man,
Yeah,
and then even though he's a mercenary and now he's like the crime lord, he shows mercy on those two Grimorian the pig guards,
yeah.
and that's cool because everyone's giving him all these tips like, oh, you need to be like more fierce and you need to like let them carry you around, and he's just like, nah, man, I'm doing my own thing.
I love that because it almost I'm thinking because everybody's telling him, "You need to get carried in like Jabba or what's his name would've, and you need to do all these things," and he's like, "No, I do it this way." But then, honestly, we see the first example of maybe this isn't such a good idea. Maybe you should be sending people in because people are gonna try and kill you as opposed to your bodyguards or whatever.
Yeah, it sounds like, obviously all of Tatooine is just like a crime planet,
Mhm.
and there's all these other gang lords and shit, and obviously someone's trying to assassinate him because those dudes with the electric shields were pretty badass, and if the
Yeah.
pig guards didn't show up, they probably would have been killed.
It's kind of like I know this is kind of a fucked up comparison, but it's kind of like, the Taliban or ISIS where it's like when the leader gets taken out, there's a new leader that gets in place, but everybody's struggling for power, like Jabba's syndicate that became taken over by Bib Fortuna, that's a big crime syndicate. So if you're the leader of that castle and you're doing that, I bet people are constantly trying to kill you, constantly trying to take over, you know?
Yeah, which especially made me think like he only has 3 bodyguards, and I'm
Mhm.
assuming just from the gifts he received of like a gold box, he should probably like get some more dudes to like,
Yeah.
stroll around with.
I have a feeling that's what the next week's episode is gonna be about, is them being like, "Listen, like, we know you're Boba Fett, we know you're badass, you know, like, all this stuff, but there's a reason why Bib and Jabba were fat, lazy people that didn't go out anywhere." Because
Yeah, like I'd probably just have like 2 to 4 more mercenaries with me.
yeah, and that's gonna happen. Dude, I mean, how sick would it be if he tries to get the crew that was on, that was in Empire Strikes Back? Like, he tries to get, like, Bossk and IG-88 and Dengar and all of those guys that were, like, that Darth Vader was hiring.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't think unless like someone's released a book or graphic novel or something, I don't think Bosk is dead.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, Bossk, I don't think IG-88 was in Mandalorian. I know there was an IG, robot, but I don't or droid. I don't know if that was IG-88 though.
I don't think that was him.
Yeah,
Either way, I would be just as happy as if they brought those dudes back or if they brought new people back. It'd still be
yeah.
cool. Before I forget, this first episode so far got an 8.6,
Hmm,
which is it's pretty high.
yeah.
I did read a good handful of reviews on Twitter that some people were a bit upset. They said it was a little slow,
Eh,
not enough action, and
what?
then there were some comments that like rebutted that, but like my personal opinion on this was, guys, this was the first episode.
Right,
He hasn't been a character in Star Wars, excluding Mandalorian, in like technically like 30 plus years.
right.
So there's a lot of gap to fill in. So like we can't just open the episode with him killing like 50 dudes. He killed plenty of people. He killed that friggin' Mortal Kombat Goro monster with 4 arms. I
Wait,
think it explained perfectly what happened.
how is there not enough action, dude? It was like the entire episode was like him escaping the Sarlacc pit and fighting, you know, getting out of that, him fighting the Tusken Raiders, him fighting that centaur thing, him fighting the assassins in that game. It was like
Yeah, it's
it's a
just I
30-minute
don't know.
episode.
I think people are maybe comparing it to Mando, obviously, and we have to understand these are completely different characters. Mando's
Right.
way younger. He's like an active mercenary that's constantly killing people. Like Boba's like friggin' 55 years old and he's
Well,
been burned alive.
and the Mandalorian's also, like, following the Mandalorian creed. Boba Fett's not a Mandalorian. He's not
No,
following their
he's
creed at
he's
all.
technically a clone. He's
Yeah,
just doing his thing.
yeah.
I thought it had a perfect mix of action and story.
Right.
Only thing is, I really wish these Disney limited shows would just stick to like 45 minutes. You don't need to do an hour. That's a little long. I
Mhm.
understand. I just feel like 38 is like, you couldn't give us 7 more? Just say, like, just give me 7 more.
Yeah, it is interesting because like, TV shows nowadays, if you're not on, like, you know, ABC or NBC or Fox or whatever, they're always at least 45 minutes. So, this is almost like a show that's, like, self-imposing its own shorter runtime, which is kind of interesting. You don't really see that very much.
Yeah.
But I don't hate the runtime. It's just it is interesting to note, like, for sure, and I do actually really appreciate that it's coming out week to week. I don't think I would have liked this, as much as if they dropped the entire 7 episodes right now. Like, I'm glad that we can take our time to digest, really talk about it, and then I don't know, I feel like I appreciate shows a lot more when I have to watch them week to week.
Yeah, pros and cons to both. Biggest pro is you have something to look forward to next week, and then before you know it, you finish this one, and then in a few more months, it's like the Obi-Wan, and then a few more months, it's Ahsoka.
Hmm.
Whereas if they released all of them tonight, by tomorrow morning, I would have watched all of them. So
Right, right, and you forget about it for a year, like, you know? You know, and this is the first time I know, like, you love Marvel, and Marvel's been doing this for a while, but this is the first show I've ever seen where it's kind of like you don't have to have watched The Mandalorian to appreciate this, but it really helps. You're not gonna know who Fennec or yeah, you're not gonna know who Fennec is, you're not gonna know how Boba Fett got to where he is in Jabba's palace, like, none of that's gonna make sense unless you watch the 2nd season of The Mandalorian. So,
mm.
I've never seen a show like that. I know you love Hawkeye and all these other Disney shows where it's like, "Oh, if you haven't seen, like, every single movie and everything," it's like yeah, so
If you haven't read the 1954 Stan Lee
yeah,
Spider-Man one,
and
uh, theoretically, you don't even have to see the original trilogy to understand Mando. It would help,
mhm.
obviously,
Yeah, that's true.
but you could just watch this and be like, "I don't know who the hell Jabba the Hutt is."
Yeah, but that's the thing, I've never really kinda watched a show where it's like, you really should watch some stuff if you really wanna get the whole picture. But, I don't know, another thing too is Boba Fett is a very cool character where, you know, he came out in the holiday special, and then he was in Empire Strikes Back for, like, you know, 15 minutes, and then he dies almost immediately in Return of the Jedi. But since 1983 until
I
pretty
know.
much now, he's had this fan base, this cult following that I don't think there's ever been anything like that.
A massive following, not only because one, I think they have so much room to fill because he basically had no role when he died. He was
Mhm.
just like, "Oh, that's Django's son," and then he just fell into the. He was like, he did that typical like Star Wars scream and fell into the pit.
The Wilhelm scream, yeah.
I fucking hate that scream. And then people over the past 30 years have been writing books and graphic novels and comics, and then finally Disney was like, "We need to capitalize on this."
Dude, like, there's never it's like the fans kept him alive. They're like, "Oh, what is that guy? Look at his armor, like, he doesn't talk really, like, what is he?" And he became just as cool as any Star Wars character for almost doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Disney really hit a cash cow with this because the opportunities are endless. Like you said, they can bring in Bosk, right? Boba could be like, "We're gonna see an old friend," and he brings in Bosk, and then, dude, before you know it, they're making a whole Bosk limited series. Like, what has Bosk been doing?
Right? No, I mean,
Just
seriously.
being a reptile fuck, doing doing whatever the fuck he does.
Well, alright, so 2 things. First off, that centaur monster, I thought it was going to be a Rancor. I thought it was gonna be a Rancor that came out. I was like, "No
Oh
way!"
no, dude. When they showed his arm, I was like, "Oh, they found a fossil." And then as the camera was looking at it, I was like, "Oh shit, that's not
Yeah.
a
Thought it was gonna be a Rancor. I thought that would've been really cool. I thought maybe that would've been like, "Oh, so there's Rancors, like, in the wild of Tatooine, so maybe that's how he'll get one too when for his castle eventually." So I thought that was cool, and then another thing I noticed, don't know if this is actually supposed to be that character or maybe just the same droid model, but when they go to visit the mayor or whatever and get those coins, you've been on the ride Star Tours in Disney World, right?
Please, of course I've been on.
You
I've seen
remember
I've seen all 3 iterations of Star
Okay,
Tours.
the original Star Tours, remember that one guy who's like, "My name's Rex, like, this is my first flight, like, la, la, la," like, that guy, that
Yeah,
robot?
I
Dude,
fucking hate that guy.
that robot was in that little cantina in this episode.
Was he?
Yeah, I saw him, I was like, "What? That's" we don't hear him talk, so I don't know if that's Rex, that character's name is Rex, but
He's like, "This isn't Star Tours."
he's like, "What? This is Star Tours, we're gonna help" Yeah, he is I think it's Pee Wee Herman that voices him, but, um
Disney was like, "We gotta change this
yeah,
immediately."
well but yeah, but I'm pretty sure, I've never seen that droid model before in anything else, so that's kinda cool that they're like, "Hey, you know what? For all those kids that
That's
grew up in the '90s and love that fucking ride, here you go."
That's sick, dude. I need to rewatch it and see that. I think you brought up a good point. I would have liked to see, even though it is badass because Boba killed the Goro monster, and then like the Tuscan
Goro.
chief, the Tuscan chief was like, "Here's this acorn water." He's like, "You have earned my respect." But I think it would have been cool if he like maybe knocked it unconscious and then chained it in the basement like Jabba did. That would have been cool too.
Well, it happens, so much earlier, though, because this is, like, right when he gets captured by the Tusken Raiders, so we don't know how much time it takes between the capture of the Tusken Raiders until oh, wait.
Ah,
Yeah, until he gets the castle, we don't not because there could be months for all we know.
that's true.
And
That'd be
that's
cool though.
why I think he's learning this whole, like, respect thing from the Tusken Raiders. I think he's gonna see, like, the way that the Tatooine actually functions is Tusken Raiders and Jawas and stuff like that, and you need to respect them and learn to live like them if you really wanna run Tatooine right. I think that's the direction they're gonna go.
In order to understand the Jawa, you must become the
And
Jawa.
he's like, like, stealing stuff, yeah.
I do I do just want to shout out at Movies for Real Pod on Twitter, who commented on my Boba post and said he loved it, told my friend it would be cool to see him escape from the pit like in the book, and we finally got it and it was awesome. I don't
Mm.
know why people think it's boring. I agree. People who say it's boring, I mean, guys, it's the first episode and it you got to just be patient, guys. Relax. Relax, guys.
Dude, people
Relax.
TikTok is ruining humanity. Like, people are like, "I don't know, something didn't happen in the first fucking flash of a second. I'm thinking stupid now." Like,
I
yeah,
think it was
man.
sick, dude. All of it. Yeah. Do you have anything else?
Well, I just wanna, give a shout out to Robert Rodriguez for directing it. Really cool to see him part of this still. I know he directed a couple episodes of The, Mandalorian, which I thought was really cool,
Are
and
you shouting out famous people?
I just wanna say,
I,
"Hey,
I
shout
want to
out."
give a shout out to Tamura Morrison for playing Boba Fett.
Uh,
You
well,
did a
no.
great job.
I thought Robert Rodriguez, cool that he's doing that. I love that, Jon Favreau is still writing it. Like, so he wrote this episode. I'm like, "That's cool." He's still a big time part of it. And just wanna say that the actor that plays, Boba Fett looks exactly like Joe Rogan. So just saying that.
I also want to give a shout out to Wesley Kimmel who played the Tuscan Kid. I'm just looking up
Mm,
random people on IMDb at this point. But, yeah, dude, he does kinda look like a more Australian-y version of Joe Rogan.
New Zealandy version of
New
yeah,
Zealand. Yeah, dude, when he said mate to the Tuscan Kid, I was like, "Dude, you wouldn't say mate.
I
That's
know.
not a thing,
I've
dude."
never heard "mate" ever said in Star Wars before, yeah, so
Oh. Okay, yeah, so just to fill you guys in, we're gonna do this every week. Try to keep it at most 15 minutes just to give you guys a brief recap.
very excited to keep doing this. Love Star Wars. Obviously, you and me are huge Star Wars fans, so this is cool to be a part of. You know what? Just gonna say, I think Star Wars they got to stick to TV shows. I love Mandalorian. I'm loving this so far. Movies I've not been loving so much, so I think they might have figured it out, Disney. So I hope that it continues to go the direction it's been going.
Yep, I agree. The shows have been spot on. Just get Ryan Johnson away.
I don't.
Get
I
him
don't.
away.
No, John Favreau's got this, dude. He's the guy. Him and Dave Filoni are the two guys that I'm like, they understand Star Wars. They get it.
Yeah, I would love to see them make a movie,
Hmm.
but I think they're doing an excellent job.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed listening to episode 1 of our discussion of the Book of Boba Fett, and we will see you next week with episode 2.
Bye.